Hey guys, welcome to the shop. You have seen many of these footages in a lot of these episodes from this concrete slab house reno. And the questions that I always get is, let's see the shop tour, let's see what the setup is. And in today's video, we're gonna accomplish just that. We're gonna show you the layout of the shop, the tools that I have, why I have them, and the lessons I've learned from my last shop of the tools that I don't might necessarily need for this one. So without wasting any more time, let's get into this video. Let's go. So this would be the third bay that we're working at. It's not your classic one, it's your drive-through work bay. It is 14 feet wide and 30 feet long, which is nice because my last house wasn't like that. We're gonna start where the flow of things start. So my truck usually backs up here. Let's have plywood, which costs like $80 a sheet nowadays, absurd. But nonetheless, I bring it up in the back here and everything is on casters. So with this welding table, that's specifically all for metal, I would bring it up here. I would put two pieces of 2x4s or whatnot, slide the plywood on, and then use my track saw that I have over here to lay it on top and then do a cross cut on this piece of plywood to bring it to my table saw for all the finer cuts. Less backbreaking work. Speaking of this welding table, obviously wood and metal is the two things I work in this garage. So I have a full setup here. I have my little Hobart 140 welder, got my argon gas, got all my clamps. So as soon as a piece of metal goes on here, it's grounded and we can start going to town creating the metal work that we'll be doing. So over here we have our Mitre Station setup. I do like any kind of Mitre table or Mitre Station that has these extendable wings. You can bring a long piece of 2x4s or any kind of stock you need to cut. Now, dust collection is terrible on every miter saw. I have not found a single miter saw where it's better than the other. But what I did find is, however, this dust collection hood works so much better. I think I found it on Amazon. It was about 200 bucks or so like that. Yes, a little pricey, but it is incredible. It has a chute down the bottom. It's a 4-inch hole so you can hook it up to your dust collection, or like I have, just bucket underneath, collects all the sawdust, and I can just dump it. Really does help it from keeping it out of the way. Now what I have here is the Goal Zero Yeti 3000X. Now this is not really a tool for the shop, but in case you're wondering what this is a really cool solar panel generator, but the best part about it is the electricians have hooked up a breaker switch here. So in case the power goes out, let's say it's a snowstorm, whatever, windstorm knocks out the power, I could hit the 4 breakers that we attributed to, let's say the kitchen, the living room, the office, and the furnace. So we can have internet, we can have our heater going, and it'll be running off the solar power generator. And we have a little solar panel that goes outside to keep that charged. So that's just got cool little gadget. I kind of appreciate it. All right, so let's gonna open the garage door here for this drive-through garage and see what we do on the other end. Watch for old George. Oh, and speaking of garage door, something that's been super helpful in the garage is my Chamberlain Secure View Smart Garage Door Opener. Here's why. I have a lot of nice things in here that I truly value, and this helps me keep my peace of mind. So what's awesome about this Chamberlain Secure Door Garage Door Opener is that it has an ultra quiet running belt. So my kids are gonna wake up because it's loud. What's awesome about it is that it's got video on it with cloud storage, with 360-degree turning radius on my camera, records in 1080p straight to my phone via the MyQ app. With the HD resolution, I can watch live what exactly is happening, two-way communication. I could talk to anybody who's actually here, and it's actually recording my voice, and we can have a communication. On top of really cool features like the battery backup system in case the storm knocks out the power, you can still open your garage, and the LED light that illuminates your garage really, really well. I can't tell you how many times I get to the store and try to remember if I actually closed the garage door or not. So now with the MyQ app, I can simply see on the video exactly what's going on, and I can close it. I have one on all 3 doors in the garage. Huge fan of them. I'll put a link in the description if you guys go check out. Trust me, you'll like it. Moving on here, clamps. You can't have enough of them. They're hard to keep storage of, but you can find these from Rockler. They're really nifty. The clamps are from Rockler and the brackets are from there. They're just kind of nice, aesthetically appeasing, and it's just kind of nice to be in the shop when everything has a place for everything. But speaking of that same scenario, we have this wall control panel. All the Ryobi tools are on here. I have the battery charger for the big batteries, the battery charger for the small ones. You can never have enough batteries, just like not enough clamps. So we have everything set up here. A little work table bench here. This is just kind of your classic workbench grandpa would have that you're just kind of tinkering over. What this table here is from Armor, and they were nice enough to send me this table over. It has these pegs, so I can use all of these little clamps if I'm sanding something, if I'm building doors, to clamp stuff down. If it comes to sanding and the thing's moving around, I could put this as a block stock, pretty loud, move it over, clamp it, and then sand and do whatever needs to be done in order to get the job done. And yes, we have casters. Casters on everything. Why? Because at the end of the day, we can move everything out of the way here and build something big, or, you know, breakdance. I don't know. The next flow of things, like I said, the big panels of plywood broken down there, I bring them over here and I do my finishing cut. I use my little dry eraser marker board here to, well, I don't know what $356,362 is doing here. That's definitely not the money that I have. Maybe it's motivation, who knows? And I bring those pieces over here and I do all my final cuts. I'll write down all my measurements on the dry eraser marker board to keep the flow going well. Dust collection, again, I love dust collection. Overarm dust collection, it works surprisingly well. This is the table saw, this is the Laguna Fusion. I think this is the first generation. It works really well. I've always mentioned this before when it comes to table saws. You don't really need much, but one thing I believe a good table saw should have is a really good self-aligning fence that you can clamp, and it's not gonna bevel in the back. It doesn't gotta, put it out of whack. That's one thing. Decent dust collection, which I don't know, if you have too many holes all over, it'll kind of blow out, but I think this is okay. But last and foremost important thing is having a nice wide cast iron top. I've had table saws before that were hybrid saws that would have attachment wings, that this would be cast iron and the wing attachment would be possibly, I don't know, like steel. And it's never straight. So to have a nice big surface area, I always said this, the table saw is like the kitchen island, right? Everybody at a get together is always hanging out there. So invest in a good table saw. I like this one. I think I spent one of my big paychecks on this and I never looked back. Oh, also, casters. Plenty of casters. In fact, one of the motivating parts about these casters is I used to have the kids as like ATVs and dirt bikes in the back. So if I was to put them on a trailer, I can move everything to the side and have a big drive-through area. So typically table saws would have an outfeed table. Why would you have one is if you're gonna run a big board here, it would flip down and basically be a safety hazard. So instead of an outfeed table, I decided to conserve space and put a router table there. And it's kind of nice because you don't really use a router table that often. It's not often I'm making cabinet doors, but you have one nonetheless. And sometimes when you don't have the space for something, you kind of motivate yourself to not have it or talk yourself out of it. So here I have my fence. It comes on, clamps into place, moves. Of course, not that smooth as the camera's rolling, but you get the picture. And of course it has dust collection, and guess what? Casters. Casters, casters, casters. Now, I always see space and where I could add more things to it without interfering with function. So here I have my little pack out system. Every time we're doing projects inside the house, this toolbox basically has all the tools that I need that I don't have to start loading it up out of my big toolbox. So this is kind of almost like a grab and go. It's basically set up in a way that if we're doing a bathroom, it's just gonna stay there the whole time. We're not gonna bring it in and out of the house. So you're kind of creating like a mini toolbox. My dust collection. This is the Laguna dust collection. I bought it secondhand from a shop here locally, actually a woodcraft store. They were gonna retire it just because every year they'll kind of upgrade it. And they gave me a great deal on it. I like it a lot, and here's what I like about it the most. Number one, it looks like something that the Dark Knight from Batman would have. I love that. Aesthetically, it looks really cool, awesome. But the best part really is it has a remote. So as I'm behind my table saw, I could press the button, it'll kickstart this thing. And therefore, I don't have to waste time walking around my table saw, pressing the button on and off. It's a time saver. Yes, the two-stage dust collection is helpful, but between you and me, I don't really can really tell the difference all that much. But hey, what do I know, right? My jointer here from Rigid. It's a 6-inch jointer, very basic jointer that anybody can get into at local, Home Depot, whatnot. Again, has casters for the boards that will run completely across. It won't interfere with my workbench there, and at a right angle, it won't interfere with this table here. And if I open the garage doors, I have even more space. But it's nice, it's here. It has its own blast gates that are set up, that are running along the way with the 2 channels going into the dust collector. And it works, for the most part, really well. I haven't found the need to change anything quite yet. I would eventually like to have a little bit of wider joiner, just to be able to run bigger boards and save money and not waste material. But this is great. So far, I like it a lot. And of course, nothing pairs better with a joiner than a thickness planer. This is a flip top tool bench that I've built, maybe what, 3-4 years? And it's solid. I feel like if I was to redo it today, I would try to make it a little bit more, less play in it, no wiggle room. And it flips over just like that. And on the other side, we have a belt sander. I don't know if I use this that often, to be honest with you. I used to think this is something I needed, but when I used to make cutting boards, this was great. Now, I can't tell you the last time I used this belt sander. The thickness planer, quite a bit, but I don't know if I've used the sander that often. So that's one of the things where I wouldn't worry about it too much unless maybe your side business is making cutting boards, and to which I say, go get yourself one. The bandsaw. This was, this is an earlier stage as a tool that I thought I needed the most. It's definitely a tool that when you need it, it's fantastic, but I will be honest with you, it doesn't get turned on that often. You know what the last time I turned it on was? I needed to trim off some outlet cover face frames just because it was touching the trim, and I used this just so it was a cleaner cut. But it's nice to have it. I don't see myself wanting to get rid of it. It's probably gonna be one of the last tools I get rid of, just because, like I said, when you need it and it's there, it's kind of nice. But I wouldn't use it as a first priority to get yourself, unless you do a lot of scroll stuff, intricate work, it's just there. This is a setup that I actually use quite often. So this is just a regular Husky bench or tool chest, whatever you want to call it. A lot of miscellaneous stuff goes in it. Definitely has a designated drawer for sandpaper. That's something I'm really proud of. But everything else is, for the most part, just like a junk drawer. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a setup that I'm actually really proud of. It has its own blast gates. This is a pocket hole beast. It's called the Craig Foreman, and what it does is it creates pocket holes, but very rapidly. There's almost no clamping that needs to take place. You put a board, you press the trigger, and then the drill bit comes out, creating the pocket holes. Very fast, very helpful for creating a bunch of different cabinets, which makes me remember that we will be building a media center, and a lot of those cabinets will be made by this. So this is definitely a workhorse. It's positioned in a place where no matter if I have a big piece or a small piece, nothing's gonna get in the way. So the casters, again, save the day once again. Now, this is actually a really helpful part of the garage setup. The reason why is, number one, I have my own privacy here. There's no windows here. But this is almost like a universal miscellaneous area of doing anything you want. But for the most part, I use it for painting. So what I'll do is I'll bring whatever I need, put it on sawhorses, and then I'll use my respirator and my HVLP sprayer or whatever I'm using to paint the cabinets out here. Fortunately enough, these trees give me plenty of coverage, so I don't have that harsh sun that's gonna dry off the paint way too quickly. And it makes it really nice for filming. It's almost like a diffused lighting scenario. But yeah, as you can see, there's plenty of areas that I'm washing all the paintbrushes and I'm cleaning up a lot of stuff. An area to be messy, it's really helpful. If I was to do one thing different, and I probably will, I have a faucet over there, but what I wanna do is maybe under this, roof lining, I wanna maybe put one of those like a utility sinks, just like plastic utility sinks, so I could actually wash my hands and wash the tools and not have to be hunched over by the faucet like I'm thirsty or something. Moving right along here, this is a cabinet that was used in our house before we did the demo work on it. I just took the doors off and just keeping all of the chemicals, all the stains and paints in here. I don't think this is the right setup anybody should have. The idea of the cabinet is great, but I think what's probably a safer bet is to get a chemical metal safety cabinet that if in case something catches on fire, it's not gonna burn your house down. So the chemically safe, what are they called? I don't know. Anywho, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, this is a really actually nifty little thing. Nifty, I don't even talk like that. Why would I even say it? This is a very helpful piece of organization, is to, whatever the tool is next to, have the jigs and the attachments that will be used for that tool so you're not running around your shop looking for it. So for example, dado blades for my table saw are here, the dado blade insert there, I have my push jigs that I'll need for it. The miter setup angle finder is really helpful if it's just kind of in proximity of everything. All right, so right here we have basically the king of the castle. This is the toolbox. This is where everything basically gets kept. We have either measuring, leveling stuff, we have sockets, we have screwdrivers, we have wrenches. I mean, everything a toolbox would have, it's here. A lot of miscellaneous things are at the bottom. I don't have a perfect system for this, but it definitely has a place for everything. All right, moving on to the rest side of the garage. Now, we all know we share the shop space with our spouses to park their vehicles. It's a give and take relationship. You have to let the wife park her car if she's gonna let you buy the tools and start tinkering in the garage. So this is my setup here. This is a 2-car garage. It fits both of our cars well, as long as they're 2 smaller cars. My truck can't fit in here. Now, here's probably the best organizational decision I have ever made in any shop. Check this out. What we have here is the mystery curtain. And with all the stuff that I have, it's kind of an eyesore. So here, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my storage solution, my Mona Lisa. What we have here is a perfect system where everything has a category. So we have our paint stuff here, from our drapes to our masking tapes and masking guns. We have our drywall stuff, we have our paint shield. Moving on to tile. Under that, we have our plumbing stuff. Under that, we have all the miscellaneous leftover materials like paints and concrete cement. Moving over, we'll have our electrical stuff. So I'll have my switches, my Romex 14.2 cables, my electrical boxes. All that electrical stuff will be there. I'll have my tech stuff here, so whether it's podcasting, wires that I'm missing one, or a video cable, we'll find it there. I have 2 bins for jigs. Those are random stuff, whether it's a box jump, a clamping thing, whatever you want to call it. Everything like that is gonna be in that miscellaneous box. My tile set up there. And then on this side, it's kind of a little bit of that homey kind of stuff. The coolers for this, family trips, the camping chairs, the fishing stuff, the water toys. It's almost like a little bit more family approachable stuff is in there. Everything here, it's kind of like a shop talk kind of thing. These curtains were from Amazon. I think they were like 40 bucks a piece. And I have, I think, 2 pieces here, 2 or 3. I'll link them down maybe in the description if you guys want to check them out. I'm a big fan of them. I just got the rods from Home Depot and they work just fine. And they kind of put away the eyesore. Makes people wonder, what's behind the curtain? Moving on here, we have the organizational setup here from Rubbermaid. I like this setup for the kids a lot. We have our skiing stuff here, the wagon from Tactical Baby Gear. Check them out. They're actually really cool stuff for baby stuff. That's really cool and not, silly. Organization for their balls, their bike pumps, their arrows for their bows. And of course, we have a little home workout setup here. We don't need much. Most of our workouts are with like kettlebells and stuff like that. But what's nice here is the setup kind of folds up. So this treadmill can go up. And then you have your workouts here. And that's how you work out. Moving on over, we have a little corner designated for the lawn stuff. The little pressure washer there. If you see, the general theme here is that like everything has its own categories, almost cubbies. Like almost you could say a place for everything is everything in its place. One thing I wanted to point out here is the light setup here. These are those classic LED lights that you could find for like 35 bucks. There's a packet of 2 in there. They sell them on Amazon, they sell them at Home Depot. They sell them everywhere. I have 10 of them here. And it's so nice to have a light, bright area where it's just like, you don't care if it's dark outside. You just want to be here. So really like it a lot. Of course, the epoxy floors, they're cool. They're black like that. It kind of looks like a starry night. Everybody who steps foot in here always compliments me on it. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's really simple to apply it yourself. Save a bunch of money doing it yourself. The one downfall about this is if you lose a screw here, you're probably not gonna find that screw. So that's the only downfall of black epoxy floors as opposed to the classic gray stuff. Moving on over here, we have the gun safe. All that stuff is locked up safely. And of course, what shop doesn't have a beer fridge? So I'm gonna grab me a LaCroix because it's noon and it's Monday, so I'm not gonna get myself in trouble. So I'm gonna have a drink here. Thanks for checking out my shop. I hope you guys found some things that are beneficial that you guys can apply to your space, or at the very least, just have a little tour of where the magic happens. All right, guys, tune out this week. Oh, hold on a second. By the way, you guys didn't know this, but we have a Patreon account where we share long format videos, where instead of 18-minute videos, you have hour-long videos. You have a lot of exclusive content and content that comes out before anybody else sees it on YouTube. So make sure you head over to my Patreon account, check out, all the links will be down in the description below. Help support this channel, get the exclusive content, and enjoy what we're doing here. Anywho, tune out this week. We'll see you guys on the next one. See ya. Bye.